Proceed.
Good evening, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here with you. I greet you all in the mighty name of Jesus. I'm so happy to be here with you in your lifestyle enrichment seminar and to share some wisdom on becoming financially empowered and eventually achieving financial freedom. So I know each and every one of us here, we strive to achieve financial freedom. We have goals that we want to achieve in this life, whether it's one, two, or many goals we want to achieve. Short-term goals, medium-term goals, and long-term goals. We all have goals that we want to achieve. And in achieving this, you know that we need money. So the fact of the matter is money answers all things. You know, as Christians, many persons would think that being wealthy or having money is a sin. But the important thing is not to glorify it, not to make it our idol, but to manage it as best as possible. And we know that God wants us to be good stewards of our finances, and he shows us that in Matthew 25. We know that it has a deeper spiritual meaning, but he wants us to be good stewards of our finances. So we're going to go through on the steps that it takes to become financially empowered. All right, so to become financially empowered, in financial empowerment, it's really about wisdom. So having the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding of the resources, the instruments, the opportunities that are around to make one wise and to become financially independent. So we need to know what instruments are there to increase our wealth. All right, so we're going to be looking at some of those. But before I go, I just want to hear from some of you some goals that you want to achieve, some short-term goals, some medium-term, some long-term goals. Can you just tell me some of the goals that you want to achieve in this life that requires finances, that requires money? You can type it in the chat, you can unmute. Some goals that we're trying to achieve.
Mm-hmm. There's one, multiple properties.
Multiple, yes.
Mm-hmm. Pay off mortgage.
Pay off mortgage, yes.
Mm-hmm.
What are some other goals that we would like to achieve in this life?
Another person is saying start a scholarship fund.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right, so that's good. So there's many goals that we want to achieve, whether to buy a house, a car, to go on vacation, education, marriage. There is so many things we want to achieve in this life. And this is an example of someone who is financially independent. So someone who is financially independent, or we can say financially free, this person would own assets. So whether fixed assets or liquid assets. So fixed assets could be houses, could be equipments, and liquid assets could be cash. It could be investment instruments such as shares, stocks, bonds, so on and so forth. So someone who is financially free, they have access to financial institutions. So they have bank accounts and they have the ability to borrow credit or to take credit. And I will discuss some more about that. And someone who is also financially independent, they are able $8 million today. If we won't manage it well, then we'll just be broke the next day. All right, so we also need to manage what God has already given to us. And if he can trust us with what he has given unto us, then he will give us more. All right. So just a little snapshot of the financial inclusion in Jamaica in terms of the population. So we can see where about 66% of Jamaicans have a savings account. This might have changed somewhat because this data is about a year or two, so it might have changed. We see here where about 16% of persons have a mortgage, a car loan, or a finance loan. About 8% of persons in Jamaica, we have a checking account. About 15% own stocks, 10% own a retirement account, and about 17% has a credit card. So we see where there's still a lot of areas where we can actually take advantage of. A lot of persons don't know about the instruments that are available, the opportunities that are available, the resources that are available to increase our wealth. So as we go along, you'll see the instruments that you can actually take advantage of to become financially empowered. All right, so what we're going to look at, some of the instruments to become financially independent or free. So we will be looking at budgeting. We will be looking at savings, credit, and insurance. So these are some instruments that we can use to become financially empowered and eventually financially free. All right, so I know a lot of persons here already know what budgeting is. Would someone want to assist me with this? Can someone tell me what budgeting is? What comes to mind when you hear budgeting? All right, so I'll assist. So when we're budgeting, so here it says that budgeting is a plan for future income and expenditure that you can use as a guide for spending and saving. So it's an activity which helps us to manage our money, a plan for spending, savings, and investing money to reach our financial goals. And I know a lot of persons now, when we get our salary or we get income, we just spend it and we don't know where it goes. So this is a very important tool we can use to manage our finances. So I know that there are a lot of applications online. There's budgeting tools on Excel and on the App Store where you can actually download to help you to do budgeting. So it looks at all your income, your expenditures, what do you spend your money on? It looks at utilities and so on and so forth. So you can actually go online and download these tools to help you better manage your budget. All right, so we'll look at further things about the budget. So the challenges and benefits of budgeting. So some challenges, you have to make sacrifice and reduce spending to comply with the budget. So when you know where your money is going, it will force you to reduce spending in certain areas. So you might say, a friend of yours might come along and say, would you like to go to the restaurant with me? Or would you like to travel? When you look at your budget, you realize, I don't have the money to do this, or I need to save towards something else. Then you know that you'll have to cut back and make sacrifices. So this allows you to actually look at your situation and to cut back where is needed. So some of the challenges as well, time to calculate cash flow and set goals and plans. So a lot of persons, they might think that they don't have the time to plan your finances, but it is very important, and you can utilize the tools that are available. There are many tools available to help you to budget. All right, some benefits to budgeting. It actually shows you where your money goes. I don't know when you get your salary and by the next day or the end of the week, you don't know where it is. It's all gone. And you're saying, where did it go? I don't know if you have that experience. Any of you?
Certainly.
Okay.
Right. Excuse me, participants, you can unmute yourselves. You're all unmuted at this time. So you can respond because you can mute yourself and do so. Thank you very much. Continue, please.
All right, thank you. All right, so some other benefits of budgeting. It lets you see how much you earn. So if you earn additional income and not just your regular salary, it helps you to put everything into perspective, and it reveals where you have areas of overspending. It also lets you live within your means, and it helps your family grow harmoniously as together you set financial goals. So this is for persons who are married. You need to speak, have a family time in terms of talking about your financing and budgeting. All right, and it also helps you to set priorities and plan for the future. So this is a very important tool, budgeting, and we should not take it for granted. All right. All right, so some tips to help you meet your financial goals. You need to think about your goals. You need to think about your short-term goals, your medium-term, and your long-term goals. So we need to think about that. And we also need to pick achievable goals, remembering your income and obligations. So if we say we want to purchase a car, we're working towards a car, and then we need to look at our income and if our income can actually stretch and purchase a BMW or a Mercedes, or maybe we just need to buy a Honda or a Nissan. So we need to look at what our income can actually afford. All right, so some other tips: we need to assign each goal a priority and start with the most important. So we know we have a long list of things that we want to do, but we have to look at what is the most important thing that I need to do now. All right, I need to go on a vacation next month, but I need to start school and I need to pay for my tuition. Which is it I should do? So we need to prioritize our goals. And another tip: consider postponing or giving up one goal for another. All right, so sometimes we just have to, we might need something now, but we might have to put it off for another month or so. All right. All right, so we're gonna be looking at the life cycles and goal forming. I know all of us here, we're at different stages of our lives. And for persons in 18 to 25 group, we normally pursue an education, you get your first job, and you explore opportunities. For the 26 to 34 year age group, these are professional and personal development. So we look at new jobs, a family, and acquiring new assets. For 35 to 50, we look at professional consolidation, securing personal achievements such as home ownership. We perhaps get a promotion and we seek to expand our assets. Persons who are 51 to 64, usually you're settled in your career and you will revisit your personal choices, and financial goals are more targeted for retirement, but usually you should actually set goals for retirement from very, very early. So persons 65 and over, they still consider retirement, and some persons have reinvented themselves. And from a slide that I've shown you before, you see that only 10%, about 10% of Jamaicans have invested in a retirement fund. And that is very scary when you look at it, because when you reach a certain age, how are we going to support ourselves? A lot of persons in Jamaica, they rely on their children to be their retirement plan. But it's very important to invest in our retirement as early as we start our first job. All right. So some advice to prepare and maintaining your budget. You need to know the difference between needs and wants. All right, you need to, can someone type in the chat some wants as opposed to some needs? What are wants as opposed to needs?
Chris Carr.
That's true, yes. Needs, right? So food, shelter, right? So those are needs. So some wants would perhaps be a new shoes, a new bag, going out to our restaurants, going out to the movies. So those are things that we have to weigh and prioritize. So we need to know the difference between needs and wants. So needs we can't do without. We need to pay our bills, right? So those are some wants, all right. So also some other advice, we need to identify and eliminate unnecessary spending. We need to keep our budget realistic and flexible and put the budget in writing. Can someone write in the chat if they have an active budget going on right now? Do you budget? Everyone here budgets? Do you have a physical budget, a written budget that you have? Yes. Okay, so Miss Grant says yes, Estella Grant. So no one else does a budget? Each month or each time you get a salary or income? I try but break it every month. Okay, right. So a lot of persons, they have the budget, but they don't stick to it. All right. So it's all about being disciplined and being faithful. All right. So we all need to put our budget in writing. So as I said, there are applications. You can put it on your phone. So it's easy to track when you're on the go. So if you buy something, you can look and say, okay, this wasn't on the budget. You can have it on an Excel and print it and walk around with it. But it's good to always have it there so that you can manage your finances better. All right. All right, so there's, I think, on Excel, I know there is a lot of budgeting apps. On the Play Store, if you go to the Play Store, I think there's one called MoneyWise. There's so many. If you type in budgeting app, when you go to the Google Store, you will see a number of budgeting apps that comes up. So you have expense tracker, right? Expense tracker. You have budget planner. That's a very good one. I've tried that. And you have wallet. And you actually have some where it actually tracks all your expenses. So whenever you buy something, it allows you to put it in. So, right. So those are some apps. But if you go on the Google Store, you will see a lot of budgeting apps. So they're very, very useful. All right, so this is an example of a budget template. So this one is from Excel. As I said, there are many on Excel. The one that I use is actually on Excel. So it looks at your income, so salary, interest or dividends, other income. So if you have a second job, a second income, you do something on the side that earns you an income, you would put that all at the top. And for the expenses, these list out the most frequent expenses that we have. So we would have our tithes, which is the first thing that I take out of my salary, because we need to be faithful. And we have mortgage or rent, transportation, electricity, water. So these are some common expenses that we have, and you can add as you go along. So some tips when the budget doesn't balance, because you know sometimes we're not making sufficient funds, or we don't have sufficient income, but we still have things that we need to acquire, which is a need. So one important tool, if you're not earning enough funds, then you need to increase your income. And one way to increase your income is to look at your skills and your hobbies and try to earn from them. So for me, I actually, I taught Spanish for a while. So I look at something that I can do. So I do basic Spanish. So I have started to teach some Spanish online. So you just look at things that you are good at and you try to make an earning from it. So, or you can get a part-time job or a better paying job. Right now, because of COVID, because of the pandemic, there are a lot of jobs right now that you can actually work from home, or they actually work at night. So you can actually balance your full-time job and get a part-time job after work. And there's many of them work from home. You just need to have a laptop or a phone and reliable internet. So, and you can also start a business on the side. So those are some tips to increase your income. So some tips to reduce expenditure: reduce or eliminate unnecessary spending, and relocate to a more cost-effective neighborhood, if you can, that is. Or you can combine both. But there are also other ways you can reduce your expenditure. I think some is, you can create non-cash income, and so on and so forth. So these are some other tips to reduce expenditure. Practice bulk ironing, use LED bulbs, turn off the lights when you're not using them, limit the amount of time you open the refrigerator. So these are some tips to reduce expenditure. All right, so these are some other tips. All right, so we're going to go into saving, another financial tool, right, to become financially empowered and to become financially free. So our CEO, Mr. Earl Jarrett, he says that saving is the fuel for investment, because the wealth of a nation is dependent on the savings of its people. And I'm sure each and every one of us here, we save, or we have a savings account. Am I correct? Everyone here saves. Can I say that? Candy saves. Estella, yes. Okay. Okay, you have Andre has an account, but perhaps he's not saving as yet. All right, so I hope by the end of this presentation, we all will be saving. All right, so let's continue. So a quote from Warren Buffett, one of the richest persons. He says, "Do not save what is left after spending. Spend what is left after saving." Okay. And the first thing I normally do when I get my salary is pay my tithes. And then I put a portion to savings as well. All right, so that is very important. So saving is the activity of creating, maintaining, and growing your assets over a period of time. And it is a stepping stone to financial independence. All right, so this is a rule for in terms of how you pay yourself first. Usually the rule is you give 10% for your tithes. You save about 10% and 80% would go towards your expenses. And so that is a formula that you can use. All right, so what you save right now. And then how you save, you choose correct products. So you decide what product is best for you. And I'm going to go into some products that you can use to actually save and earn some interest. All right. So in savings, the first step is to create an emergency fund. Your emergency fund should be 3 to 6 months living expenses. I'm sure, I'm gonna ask if anyone here has savings that can sustain them for about 3 to 6 months if you stop earning right now. Do you have 3 to 6 months living expenses? Yes. Okay, Ms. Grant says yes, no. Okay. All right, so I'm hoping that you're going to start pretty soon because it's very important. And COVID or the pandemic has taught us that it's very important to save and to build an emergency fund because a lot of persons were disenfranchised by the pandemic. And it would have been good if we had, or they had 3 to 6 months living expenses until they can find something else. All right, so level 2, establish sub-accounts for expenses like school fees, car insurance, property tax, etc. So in terms of managing your funds, when you get your salary, it's good to set aside 2 different accounts so you know what you should use. For example, for me, I have different accounts for different expenses. So I have an account for gas. I have an account for to receive rent. I have an account for my tithes because I don't want to touch it. That is if it doesn't go directly to the church. At the same time, and ensure that it goes to a specific account. And you can actually have different accounts to manage your expenses well. And level 3, once the goals of level 1 and 2 have been achieved, use this excess fund to eliminate debt at a faster rate. So you can also use your savings to reduce debt. And the next step is to launch out into investments, purchasing a house, buying stocks and bonds, and improving retirement. If you need some more information on this, you can, I'll give you my information at the end of the presentation, and I will ask one of our fund manager, who is licensed to speak on investment banking, to give you some more information on investment bonds, stocks, and shares. So these are some good instruments to becoming financially empowered. All right, so some main types of accounts. We have ordinary savings account. So that's your regular savings account where you have your ATM card, where you track your expenses. And then you have your contractual savings account. So here at JN Bank, we have our high yield account. If you're working towards a medium term or a short term goal, it's a 1-year account. To save a minimum of $5,000 every month for a year. You earn an interest on that. We also have our direct gain account where you can start with a minimum of $25,000 and you can fix it for about 30 days, 60, 90, up to a year. And you earn interest on this as well. We also have our partner plan. So there are various contractual savings accounts where you can save towards a particular goal and earn an interest on your money. There's also another one that I would like to, it's not here, but it's called the BeWise account. It's a long-term account from, you can save for 2 years up to 5 years, and the interest rate is very attractive and competitive. So that is one of my favorite accounts. And that is something that you can also consider. So one of the main benefits of formal saving is accruing interest. So why do we need to earn interest? Without it, the real value of savings drop because there is inflation. So it helps to grow your investment. So if you just have your money like that, over a period, you might have inflation eating out that fund. So it's always good to earn an interest on it or invest in a business. All right, so let's look at retirement planning. So retirement is a journey, not a destination. I said it before, it is very important to start planning for our retirement as early as possible. As soon as you start working, I believe you should start planning for your retirement. There are retirement accounts that you can actually open. We have one here, the JNRA account, where you can save 5 to 20% of your salary, and it goes towards your retirement fund. And there are many benefits to having a retirement fund. So you can do that at 18 and over. The maximum you can contribute to a retirement fund is 20% of your income, and that is by law. So can you contribute to more than one pension scheme? Unfortunately, you cannot. You can only contribute to one pension scheme. So can savings in one plan be transferred to another? Yes. Can I regard NIS as my pension scheme? It should be regarded as supplementary, because we know NIS, what you're getting, it's not going to be sufficient. When you retire, when we look at inflation, it's not going to be sufficient to cover all your expenses. All right, so what comprises the ideal pension portfolio? A formal pension plan, insurance policy, real estate, equity or mutual funds, or NIS. So these are some of the things that comprises the pension portfolio. All right. So some savings advice. Think about why you are saving and let that motivate you. So look at what you're working towards. If you say you want to save $1 million by the end of the year, that's a good motivation. I said that once. I want to earn $1 million by the end of 2022. I should have $1 million in my bank account. And so you can set goals like that. By this time, I want to save 500,000. By this time, I want to save $2 million. By the time I am 35, I should have $3 million in my bank account. So you can use that to guide you and motivate you to save. All right, so choose your short-term and long-term goals. Write down your goals. It's always good to write down your goals and know what you're working towards. And the most important thing is to be consistent. So understand also to understand all products available to you and to choose wisely. There are many instruments, many resources there. The important thing is to take advantage of it to your benefit. All right, so another way that we can become financially empowered is to use credit. So a lot of persons think that credit is bad, but you can actually use it to become financially free. And some persons, they use it to purchase a house, so that's a mortgage. And then you can, that house, it actually increase in value. You can use it and you can rent it. So there are many benefits to credit. It is true that improper use of credit can be disastrous, but properly used, it can enhance your life. And when you take credit, it is very important to manage it well and to pay your loans on time, because there are a lot of persons that take out a loan and they're not able to pay it well, and it destroys your credit and it destroys your chance of getting loans further in your life. So it's very important to manage your credit well. All right, so credit is usually money borrowed from a bank, such as a credit card, loans, mortgages, and it offers economic opportunities to people who do not have enough money but need to invest in a business or other assets. So I know persons who they don't like to take out a loan, but this can be helpful in achieving some of your financial goals. You just need to know how to manage it wisely. And it's a useful door to achieve financial independence. All right, so when you approach a bank, this is what they look at before they offer you a credit. They look at the 5 C's of credit. We look at your character, so how well you have managed your credit in the past. If we pull your credit report and we see that you have not managed a credit or credit card that you took in the past, then we are less likely able to offer you additional credit. We also look at your income when we're offering you credit. We look at the conditions. So we look at the market condition. We look at the industry that you're in, if it is viable at this time. We look at the capital, so what you have. We look at your assets. So those are some things that we look at when we're offering you credit. And we look at collateral in terms of when we're offering you a mortgage or an auto loan. So these are some of the things we look at when we're offering credit. So some primary benefits of using credit. It allows you to spend more money than you have. And because of this, you need to manage it well. Persons with credit cards, they feel that they always have money, so it's hard for them to say no, because they have their credit card and they want something right now, they buy it. But it's very important to manage it well. So another benefit of using credit, it improves financial security, allows you to consolidate debt. In an emergency, you can cover the expense and you develop a credit history. Now, these are some of the credit bureaus that we use right now to pull your credit. What we use here at JN Bank is CRIF&M, and we use Credit Info. So these are the 2 bureaus that we use to pull your credit. And I believe each of us, we can get 1 credit report per year, free credit report per year. If you go on their website, Credit Info, Jamaica Limited, or CRIF&M, you can actually go and apply for your free credit report so that you can know how it is or what you're working with. So that's very important to do, so you can make the proper allowances if you need to borrow credit in the future. All right, so another instrument to financial empowerment is insurance. I won't go too much into this, but it is a great tool to create wealth, to preserve wealth, and to transfer wealth. And if you need any more information on this, I will refer you to one of our life insurance specialists. All right, so but these are some of the insurance that we have: whole life insurance, critical illness, health, property. We have the family indemnity plan. So there are a few insurance that you can actually purchase. All right, so I'm coming down some general advice. Take care of your possessions. If you have to replace things often, this will impact your financial independence. So you need to take care of the things that you already have. So for example, if you have a TV and you don't take care of it, then you always have to be buying another television or another fan or perhaps shoes. So you need to take care of what you have, so you don't always have to be spending money to acquire more. All right, you need to purchase quality goods. I know sometimes we want to go for the cheaper items that don't last very long, but sometimes it's just good to buy a quality item and it will last a longer time. So you don't have to be spending money ever so often to be acquiring it. All right, so you need to be generous, give and it will be given unto you. Press down, shaking together and running over. So this is a Bible principle here. We need to be generous and we need to know that. I don't know if we have persons that we take care of, but I would encourage us to be generous. All right, so a quote from Winston Churchill: "We make a living by what we earn. We make a life by what we give." And we should always involve the entire family in business and financial discussion. So these are some general advice. If you want to go deeper into financial education, these are some of the sites that you can go to. You can take it down, investopedia.com, to find out some more. All right, so some quotes here. You should save for a rainy day. When you don't work, savings will work for you. Another one: beware of little expenses. A small leak will sink a great ship. And that's by Benjamin Franklin. Another one: a penny saved is a penny earned. So these are some quotes. $1 million is still $1 million $1 coin. So when you look at these principles, it puts things into perspective and helps you more to save. All right, so a final reminder: take action. An inch of movement will bring you closer to your goals than a mile of intention. So these are some resources that you can read to become more financially empowered and free. And that is it for my presentation. So we will go straight into our question and answer session.